Is there any point in buying consoles at all? What is up, y'all, and welcome to Xbox Ready, my YouTube channel that's all about Xbox. I get on here multiple times a week to talk about everything that's going on with Xbox, what they're working on with their games, their hardware, their accessories. I try to have a conversation, or as much as a conversation as you can have when you're a guy talking to a camera alone in your apartment. And in today's video, I'm in a bit of a different mood. You see, on this channel, I talk a lot about the future of Xbox, whether it's their upcoming first-party games, upcoming accessories, upcoming consoles. We've obviously been talking a lot about those. And when I sat down to make this video, I thought to myself, I'm gonna talk more about that, talk about the future, whether you should buy the Series Next or the PlayStation 6. And then the more that I thought about it, the more that I realized, well, okay, should you wait to buy these consoles? Is there any point in buying the Series X or S or even the PlayStation 5 at all if you haven't made the upgrade yet? This is something that's been on my mind. I feel like it's been on a lot of people's minds because, well, times are crazy, things are getting more expensive, people want to be a little bit more careful with how they spend their money, especially when it comes to their hobbies. They want the most bang for their buck. No one likes spending $500-600 on a console and then realizing a couple of years later, oh, I've only booted this up a couple of times. When you buy an Xbox, a PlayStation, a Switch, you're making that purchase, you're making that investment because you believe that you are gonna get at least bare minimum $500 worth of entertainment out of this thing over the next 5, 6, 7, 8 years, maybe even more than that. And with all this next talk about, oh, Project Kennen, 2027, new Xbox consoles coming out. That's all super exciting, but I'm sure some of you are sitting there, definitely sitting there because y'all let me know in the comments of what's the point? We just got started with this generation, or it just feels like it. Why are we releasing new consoles? We're also heading towards this future where former Xbox exclusive franchises are gonna be showing up on PlayStation, on other platforms, maybe even Nintendo. And that's probably another question that's on a lot of Xbox fans' mind. Why buy an Xbox when I could probably, we don't know for sure, probably buy a PlayStation 6, play all their exclusives, and play Xbox games, even if I have to wait a little bit longer for them to release. Let's take a minute to recap how we even got here in the first place, because it's just so weird to think about the beginning of this console generation and then where we've ended up now. After what a lot of people consider to be a down generation for Microsoft with the Xbox One, the release of the Xbox Series X and S in 2020, it represented a new chapter for Microsoft's gaming division, a kind of a comeback of sorts. A couple of years prior to that, Microsoft had went on this crazy spending spree, gobbling up all of these studios, publishers, and the assumption was that because they bought all those studios and publishers, they were gonna make those games exclusives, which would drive console sales, and hopefully close that sales gap, the 2-to-1 sales gap that we saw in the Xbox One PS4 generation. The problem is that it took a long time to see anything as an Xbox fan from those acquisitions. There are studios that Xbox bought in 2018 that haven't released a new game since. They're working on it, people like Compulsion Games and Undead Labs, but it's still, we haven't seen anything. And then of course they bought Activision Blizzard, and it's like they suddenly realized, wait a minute, if we're keeping all of the Activision Blizzard stuff multi-platform in order to make more money, why don't we just do that with all of our other games? Now they're in unprecedented territory. Every screen in Xbox, shipping their games to other platforms. And then you look on over to the PlayStation side, it's like they didn't really even need to do all that much in order to maintain that sales lead that they had from last generation. They came into the launch of the PlayStation 5 with a ton of momentum. In the PS4 generation, they managed to outsell Xbox, but they also successfully rebooted one of their most iconic franchises with God of War. They struck absolute gold with Spider-Man. I wasn't so big a fan of Horizon Zero Dawn, but that was another IP that they got to add to their stable of exclusives. They aggressively positioned themselves as everything the Xbox One wasn't, and they were able to run away with that generation. Since then, we've seen a lot of interesting hardware from them, the PS5 Pro, PSVR 2, PlayStation Portal. They're just trying stuff, they're just releasing stuff, even if it doesn't sell super well. They know they have that freedom because they have such a dominant lead over Xbox. Listen, Sony, the PlayStation 5, they've had a lot of wins this generation. They just won Game of the Year with frickin' Astro Boy. I really liked God of War Ragnarok. Ragnarok, I like Helldivers 2. Spider-Man 2 was fun, entertaining. But here's the thing, all of those games are well and good, but everyone is always talking about, oh, PlayStation has the best exclusives, PlayStation have the best exclusive, and yeah, they're great, but they weren't super innovative this generation, compared to at least what they were able to do with the PlayStation 4. God of War Ragnarok, we got to see the continuation of Kratos' new journey in Norse mythology. They added some awesome mechanics, new powers, new weapons. You got to play as Atreus, that was fun, but it was mostly the same as God of War 2018. Same thing from Spider-Man to Spider-Man Miles Morales to Spider-Man 2. They just kind of slightly improved things. That's all they really needed to do. But it was more or less the same sort of stuff that we've come to expect from them, not even talking about all of the remakes that they've just been going crazy on. And when I look back at Xbox, yeah, sure, maybe they didn't really innovate when it came to games either. They had a couple of flops like Redfall. Starfield, at least critically, didn't perform as expected. Especially that early period for Xbox, they had a few stumbles. But while they haven't really been innovating in terms of the games, they've been really pushing the envelope when it comes to features. I've had Game Pass Ultimate for the past 4 years, and I've enjoyed every moment of it. Even when they raised the price, I still believe that I'm getting a good enough value to justify my investment into a year-long subscription of Game Pass. Also, with the rise of Game Pass, you now have the option of renting a game, trying it out through the Game Pass library before committing extra money to it, like buying it outright. Everyone loves to remind people, oh, you don't really own a game if you play it through Game Pass, you're renting it. It seems to have taken on a negative connotation, but like, renting games used to be awesome back in the day. I don't know, somewhere along the line, people are like, renting games, I like to own it outright, you broke mother. Xbox Play Anywhere is dope when it's supported. Just did a video about that too. Cloud gaming at the beginning of this generation, it was really not fun. I hated going on the cloud. But lately, while it's not the perfect way to play games, they've made a ton of improvements. When I was first trying to play Avowed on my ROG Ally, it kept crashing for some reason, so I just started playing Avowed through the cloud. Hey, that rhymes. And it was a pretty decent experience. I'm like, okay, I could see the potential for this. They've been working on all of these features, and now finally we're starting to see the quality of the games catch up. Indiana Jones was reviewed very well. Avowed, I know a lot of people have a lot of opinions about that game, but it's like, I see it mostly as like an 8 of 10 game from Metacritic and all of the other review sites. But great, they have good games now, they're releasing them at a steady clip. There's still that elephant in the room, Ray. Why should I buy an Xbox next generation or an Xbox at all when I can go and buy a PlayStation 5 or a PlayStation 6? Both consoles at Xbox themselves have said, yeah, we're gonna put more games on there. The pitch to remain an Xbox fan seems to lie in flexibility. We're already seeing this generation. I used to think, oh, the Xbox ecosystem, who cares? I'm mostly a console player. But as the years went on, I thought to myself, wait, yes, I mostly play on console, but I've played a lot using remote play. I've played a good amount on cloud. I've played a lot on the PC Xbox app. I just bought my Ally a couple of months ago and I play Xbox through the app on there too. Before I knew it, I went from thinking, oh, the ecosystem, it's not really for me, to, oh, I'm using every part of this thing that Xbox is pitching us. The seamless transition of my games and my data between devices. And if the rumors are to be believed, if the next Xbox is really like this Windows gaming machine with an Xbox type shell that hooks up to your TV, you'll have more options than ever before. If they're able to get Steam and other launchers on it, I mean, my God, we already see it happening with my Ally. This future that we're all speculating and talking about, oh, the next Xbox is gonna be more like a PC, have multiple launchers, that's already a thing on my Ally. I opened up the Asus Armory Crate app and everything's there. Steam, Xbox Cloud Gaming, Xbox PC app, EA launcher, Epic Games launcher. I don't think it's that big of a stretch that we'll get a similar sort of thing on the next Xbox and the handheld that they're working on, the one that they're partnering up with Asus to make. In a weird roundabout way, if they're able to get Steam on the next Xbox, you will have access to Sony published games like God of War 2018, like Spider-Man, like Helldivers 2. But if you're not into any of that, if you think, oh no, I'm just gonna play on console, that's all I want, I don't want to mess with PC. If you have any interest at all in PC gaming, even just a little bit, Xbox is a better bridge for you than something like PlayStation. Because of the Xbox PC app, because of Play Anywhere, there's a good chance that if you are playing a game on Xbox and you're like, you know what, I would rather try this on PC for whatever reason. I want to use mouse and keyboard instead. I want to play this game on a beefier rig. It's very likely that you'll be able to pick up where you left off on your console on that PC. But if you're like, nah, I don't want to deal with any of that. I want to buy a box. I want to hook it up to my TV. I want to take my controller and sit on my couch, play my game. That's it. Then the PlayStation 6 will probably serve your needs just fine. Whereas Xbox is over here trying all this crazy stuff we've never seen from a platform holder before. The PlayStation 6 is for sure going to be a more traditional, straightforward console like we've come to know them over the past few years. And if you have any interest at all in their exclusives, you probably would want to buy a PlayStation 5 or 6. They're going to keep it to themselves. They're not going to share like Xbox is doing. They're going to keep it locked to their platform, and that's just the way it's going to go. Sure, there are a few exceptions. Some of their older titles make their way on over to Steam. Helldivers 2 obviously released simultaneously, but for the most part, they're gonna keep that locked down. And let's just be real, it's probably gonna be the most powerful console on the market when it comes out. If the rumors are to be believed and Xbox is trying to get a jump early on next gen, released in 2027, probably not going to be as powerful as if they had spent a little bit more time cooking it. PlayStation 6, there were some rumors saying that it would release November 2027, but the prevailing theory is that it's going to be out in 2028. By that time, there will be more advanced chips. Overall, the PlayStation 6, much like the PS5 Pro, is going to be the most powerful console on the market. We know that Nintendo, they're not interested in making a tech powerhouse with the Switch 2. Xbox, they tried the whole most powerful console angle at the beginning of this generation with the Series X. Didn't do anything for them at all. So they're for sure going to go in a different direction. If you buy the PlayStation 6, you're doing so with the expectation that games are going to look really awesome on it, run really awesome on it. Whereas on Xbox, they got to work on a multitude of devices, so they're probably not going to be cutting edge in terms of the graphics and performance, but that doesn't necessarily make a game bad. Going back to those rumors that these consoles, the PlayStation 6 and the new Xboxes, are going to come out in 2027, it's almost like, damn, that really is very early for Xbox, not so much because they didn't have a mid-gen refresh, but I mean, my God, they just came out with the PlayStation 5 Pro last year, and then you're telling me 3 years on, you're gonna release the PlayStation 6? It's got me thinking, like, was there ever really, truly any point in buying these Gen 9 consoles? If Xbox is gonna move on from them early, so is PlayStation 6, maybe even PlayStation. Like, like, if you decided not to upgrade at all to the Series X, to even the S, or get a PlayStation 5, what did you really miss out on, really? Sure, there are studios and a lot of the Xbox first-party stuff, they ditched Xbox One. Starting with Redfall, Starfield, and onward, most of their first-party games have been Series X and S only. But a lot of the major third-party players, they were still supporting the Xbox One and the PS4 as soon as this year. Forza Horizon 5, Halo Infinite, you can play on an Xbox One. And if you don't give a crap about any of the other games that came out after that, Redfall, Starfield, Hellblade 2, Avowed, Indiana Jones, there was pretty much no reason, no immediate pressing need for you to upgrade. I personally can't play on an Xbox One anymore because I've just gotten so used to playing at 60 FPS. I know I sound like a snob, but it's hard playing games at 30. And if you haven't made the jump yet from Xbox One to Xbox Series X and S or PS4 to PS5, is there anything happening in the next couple of years that would make you want to upgrade? If these new consoles are really coming out early, 2027, perhaps you'd just be better off waiting until they come out. It's an interesting question. I know there's a lot of people out there that feel like Gen 9 has been not exactly worth it, or not as exciting as we initially hoped. There's been a lot of weirdness, a lot of remakes, a lot of projects and games we thought were gonna come out that we've just been waiting 4, 5, 6 years for. And now listen, do not get it twisted. I have enjoyed every moment I've had with the Xbox Series X and S that I bought. But I understand not everyone feels that way. And these rumors about the next-gen Xboxes and the PlayStation 6 swirling around constantly, week by week. Sure, it brings up excitement, but it also brings up a lot of questions. And in a world where people are constantly fighting for your attention, your money, all of those questions are valid. Is this box worth it for me. Like, if you looked at this console generation and were like, nah, I'm good, what is the thing that's gonna make you jump for the PlayStation 6 or the next Xbox or the Xbox handheld? These are all things that Sony, Microsoft, Nintendo, they have to consider. Because people are starting to wise up. Fan expectations are rising. They're not just gonna buy a console just cuz. You gotta give them a damn good reason to do so. And hopefully we find out more about how that's gonna happen soon. Anyways, guys, that's all the Xbox stuff I have to talk about today. Thanks so much for joining me for another edition of Xbox Ready. If you made it this far into the video, consider subscribing. Help me on my journey to 200,000 subs. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.